You ever wonder what it would be like if 500 of your favorite Disney characters from movies and TV shows and even rides all got together to just hang out? Timon and Pumbaa meeting Jiminy Cricket? Jafar trying to steal Mickey's favorite lamp?
The lamp is mine!
And even a Song of the South cameo. Well, we got all of that and so much more with an incredibly inspired TV show from the early 2000s. And even with that, the story of Disney's original attempt at a shared animated universe is even more wild than the series itself. Desperate aging icons, a budget-conscious studio, and even all-out animated warfare. This is the history of the House of Mouse. Really, 500 characters. If there's one thing that Disney has known how to do throughout its 100-year history, it's create memorable characters. I mean, sure, we've got the original Fab Five, but go to any Disney theme park and it really starts to sink in just how many of these classic characters there are. And when you think about it, theme parks are really the only place that many of these beloved characters go to live out their days after their movie or TV show has run its course. Kinda like Disney's waiting room or purgatory. But for Mickey Mouse, by the time we hit the early 90s, there was concern within the company that the lack of fresh movie and TV content out there featuring the character had chipped away at his relevancy.
Is this what you would call today's modern man? With his oversized shoes, old pants, ugly shirt, and loser vest? Looking like his mother dressed him?
And if that wasn't worrying enough, some of Disney's biggest rivals were about to declare an all-out animation war. Not only had rival network Nickelodeon begun to air classic Looney Tunes shorts in the late 80s, but in 1991, they launched the first wave of their own brand of Nicktoons with Doug, Rugrats, and my personal favorite, The Ren and Stimpy Show. Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment teamed up with Warner Animation to put out just a ton of different series throughout the decade, including Tiny Toon Adventures in 1990, Animaniacs in 1993, and Pinky and the Brain in 1995. And then there was media mogul Ted Turner, who launched Cartoon Network in 1992, initially as a dumping ground for his recent purchase of Hanna-Barbera. But by the mid-90s, they too were developing their own original animated series with Dexter's Laboratory, Johnny Bravo, and the Powerpuff Girls. All of this to say that in a very short amount of time, Disney's competitors had loaded up with a fresh set of mascots, each expertly tuned to appeal to a specific set of 90s kids. And to their credit, Disney wasn't backing down. The Disney Afternoon launched in 1990 and over the next decade was responsible for heavy hitters like DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop, and many, many others. The only problem was, none of these featured Mickey Mouse, and with each year that went by, he was feeling more and more antiquated. Now, Disney initially dabbled with modernizing the mouse in 1995's Runaway Brain, which I'm definitely going to cover in another video, so stay tuned. And while this theatrical short was good enough to be nominated at the 68th Academy Awards, younger audiences had found some of the more intense scenes especially disturbing, which wasn't exactly the vibe the executives wanted to attach to their globally recognized icon. It wasn't until producers Bob Ganaway and Tony Craig came up with the idea for a fresh take on the classic animated shorts formula that something finally stuck. And so on November 18th, 1997, Roy E. Disney announced the company's next great attempt at bringing Mickey Mouse and Friends to a new generation.
Saturdays on ABC.
Speaking scientifically, what conclusion can we draw from this zany, wacky behavior? They all out of their cotton-picking minds, that's what. Trust me, when it comes to crazy, I'm the expert.
Get crazy every Saturday morning with Disney's Mickey Mouse Works.
Now, in order to fully understand House of Mouse, we really do need to take a quick detour through Mickey Mouse Works, which premiered May 1st, 1999 as part of Disney's One Saturday Morning on ABC. Rather than going with the standard formula of two 11-minute segments, each 22-minute episode was a free-flowing mixture of quick gags, character shorts, and parodies from other classic stories called Mouse Tales. This kind of structure not only allowed for Disney to keep things in constant motion, but it also allowed for them to jam in as many of these classic characters as possible. And overall, MouseWorks achieved exactly what it set out to be, a fast-paced and generally safe collection of fresh Disney theatrical shorts. Or from a corporate perspective, it was an updated delivery mechanism for legacy characters that maximized exposure for the target audience. Did it work? Kind of. You see, after the negative reaction received from changing up Mickey's personality and runaway brain, Disney didn't want to stray too far from the source, at least when it came to the classic characters. And so any and all modernization that was done was all in the storylines and situations that these characters existed in. And while all of these pieces did fit together and work, MouseWorks still didn't solve Disney's biggest problem. Mickey and Friends just weren't connecting with the target audience. Sure, these new animated shorts were classically silly and well made, but when put up against other popular kids shows at the time, they just couldn't compete. It seemed like kids weren't gonna tune in just for Mickey Mouse. And so 18 months after MouseWorks' debut, the series was canceled, with the last episode airing December 16th, 2000. Disney's relatability problem for their classic characters was only getting worse. If Disney had any hope of making the mouse mean something to kids in the 2000s, they knew that they needed to act fast. But how do you make these characters appealing after you just produced an expensive new series and discovered that your audience isn't interested in these characters enough to even tune in? We didn't have to wait very long to get answers to these questions because 4 weeks after the cancellation of MouseWorks, Disney already had another replacement on the air.
Your Saturdays will be rocking at Disney's House of Mouse.
Hi, Mickey.
Looks like we got a full house. There have never been so many Disney stars together in one place.
Table for 101. Oh, wow.
Waiter, there's a fly in my friend's soup. I want one too.
Here's your doggy bag, Miss DeVille.
Forget the bag. I'll take the doggy.
Come on in, we're gonna shake. You just never know who'll show up. Disney's House of Mouse, today on ABC.
House of Mouse debuted on January 13th, 2001, once again as part of Disney's One Saturday Morning on ABC. And much like its predecessor, this new show was also a showcase of classic character-based animated shorts. And by classic character-based shorts, I mean they just repackaged most of the exact same shorts that had just aired on MouseWorks.
Here's a cartoon starring that favorite caballero, Donald Duck.
But rather than the same rapid-fire mishmash of 5 to 6 gags, shorts, and parodies that made up an episode of MouseWorks, House of Mouse would only use 2 to 3 shorts and fill in the rest of the runtime with packing material. But it was this packing material that would go on to define House of Mouse, which is especially important because, again, the shorts that were used were literally the exact same material that had just aired with MouseWorks. When it came to the elements connecting each of these shorts, Disney actually made a pretty inspired choice, a narrative interstitial that not only connected each of the shorts together, but also solved their biggest issue with MouseWorks. If younger audiences see Mickey Mouse as irrelevant, why not surround him with popular characters that are proven to be relevant? In House of Mouse, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, and Goofy run a nightclub that cater to the many residents of Toontown. And these residents just so happen to be characters from just about every Walt Disney animated project, going as far back as Snow White and as recent as Atlantis. The only limits that the production team had were that they could only pull from other animated works, so no live action or stop motion characters. But there were a couple of fun loopholes added.
To me the usual, Goof. 40 weight with a twist.
Coming right up.
And they had to steer clear of any licensed properties, so no Tarzan. This still left a seemingly infinite amount of crossover opportunities though, and the team took full advantage, filling each of these interstitials with an endless array of what-ifs, sight gags, and deep cuts that even the most hardcore Disney fan might miss.
Next time you make a mathemagical mistake, visit Math Magic Land. Our coefficient staff serves some of the most uncommon denominators in town.
And all of this quickly could have devolved into these sections feeling like some kind of copycat fanfic, but the fact that they still used many of the original voices gave everything a feeling of authenticity.
Hades, Lord of the Dead, how you doing? These are my minions, Pain and Panic. They'll be abducting you to the underworld tonight.
Now, like I said, Even though these sequences played fast and loose with all of these characters interacting, everything was still stitched together with some kind of light narrative. A typical episode of House of Mouse would usually introduce us to Mickey and the crew encountering some kind of behind-the-scenes dilemma. But the show, or in this case shorts, must go on. And so everything turns into a balancing act, where the gang have to keep the various guests happy while trying to solve their larger problem. In one episode, Pain and Panic from Hercules convinces Pinocchio to hang with them, forcing Jiminy Cricket to quit being his conscience.
I must be the worst conscience in the world.
When Mickey says that he's willing to do anything to help, the Blue Fairy makes Jiminy his new conscience. But of course, everyone involved realizes that things were better back the way that they were. In another one, Max takes over for Goofy as head waiter and has to endure each and every specific request and difficulty that the various guests have. And throughout all of this, we get very quick guest interactions peppered in, usually playing up the absurdity of character from movie A interacting with character from movie B.
Everybody wants to be a cousin, the only that knows where it's...
Where's my tailor when I need him?
The benefit of these scenes being so short is that they were able to cram a ton of these smaller moments into a single episode. So if one particular joke or gag doesn't land...
Evil witch sleeping apples!
One bite, and you're out like a light.
There's another one right behind it.
Wake Up Kiss, sold separately.
Luckily, the fact that this was really the only new content that Disney was producing for this show meant that the writers were able to focus entirely on these interactions. The one big negative moment here is that these in-between moments within the House of Mouse are so fast and so free that the actual shorts themselves feel incredibly slow by comparison. It's just hard to go from...
Let me tell you our specials. We got bread lobs and fish sticks, Cruella de Vil, peg leg pizza, Never Never lamb, Stromboli ravioli, and polka hummus.
To...
You want to fetch the paper?
And that's not even speaking to the fact that most of these shorts had just aired over the last couple of years. So if you had been an avid MouseWorks viewer, you had already seen the bulk of each House of Mouse episode. This kind of, wait, haven't I seen all of this before feeling would ramp up even further when it came to the 2 direct-to-DVD House of Mouse holiday films.
We interrupt this broadcast for a special weather bulletin. The snow continues to fall. All schools, all stores, all roads will be closed until further notice. In other words, we're snowed in.
What? Sorry.
Join Mickey Mouse and all your favorite Disney friends in a full-length animated movie, Mickey's Magical Christmas, snowed in at the House of Mouse. Now available on video and Disney DVD.
Mickey's Magical Christmas, Snowed In at the House of Mouse was released midway through Season 2 on December 13th, 2001, and featured the exact same format as the series, with multiple previously produced shorts nestled into a new wraparound story. Everything is holiday themed, and so just like the TV series, Mickey's Magical Christmas pulls in a few of these same shorts that had been produced for MouseWorks. This time, though, they also included a few of the older classics, with both Pluto's Christmas Tree from 1952 and Mickey's Christmas Carol from 1983. And while we did see some of these classic cartoons begin to find their way into the House of Mouse by the end of Season 2 and into Season 3, which both aired after this movie, what we hadn't seen included was a full-feature short like Mickey's Christmas Carol, with a runtime of about 23 minutes. To put that into perspective, Mickey's Magical Christmas Snowed In at the House of Mouse, in total, is slightly under an hour, so Christmas Carol is a big part of it. The other big part of this is obviously the new House of Mouse story segments, which are fine. All of the guests are snowed in at the big Christmas Eve show, so Mickey decides to throw a special party while they wait. Donald Duck's being Donald Duck and isn't feeling the Christmas spirit, so the gang go about trying to cheer him up through holiday-themed shorts and various other guest interactions, like a Mouse on the Street segment.
What would you like for Christmas?
That's easy. My 2 front teeth. Already got those.
How about bunk beds?
Characters sharing what they're thankful for.
I'm thankful for the little people, too.
But we don't even know him.
And decorating the club with holiday cheer. When all of that doesn't do the trick, Mickey's on the verge of losing all hope until he runs into Jiminy Cricket, who does what Jiminy Cricket does best.
The Christmas spirit doesn't come from a party. It comes from sharing the holidays with family and friends. Haven't you ever wished upon a star? Your dreams just might come true.
I wish that everyone could have the Christmas spirit.
What do you want?
Well, I want my best friend to put the star on the tree.
Do you want me to do it? Merry Christmas!
And then, after we see Mickey's Christmas Carol, we get a pretty forgettable musical number.
It's our true friends and family, and the memories we recall.
And then the movie just ends with everyone still trapped inside a snowed-in House of Mouse, where I guess they'll just survive off of the gingerbread men from 1935's The Cookie Carnival.
You're going to be the Cookie Queen.
Which leaves us with one final entry into the House of Mouse.
All of Disney's greatest villains are taking over the House of Mouse, and there's only one guy that can stop them.
Oh, boy!
Mickey's House of Villains, now on Disney DVD and video.
Lights out!
House of Mouse's second direct-to-video movie, Mickey's House of Villains, released almost 1 year later on October 17th, 2002, midway between season 3 of the series. It once again sticks very close to the same formula that we've seen multiple times now, but cranks up the number of included shorts to 8, 3 of which are classics like The Lonesome Ghosts and Trick or Treat, with the rest once again being originals created for MouseWorks. The wraparound story this time takes place on Halloween night, and as the name would imply, this time all of the villains from the various Disney animated movies has stopped by the House of Mouse.
There seems to be an awful lot of villains here tonight.
Aw, relax, Minnie. It's Halloween.
Of course, they're up to something, and Jafar with the other villains surprises Mickey and crew and takes over the House of Mouse, but only after a quick musical number. Now renamed the House of Villains, Mickey fights back by dressing up in his sorcerer outfit from Fantasia and engages Jafar in some pretty ho-hum combat with the help of a special somebody.
Mickey's hat! Oh, what do we do now?
Here, use the lid.
Mickey, catch!
That probably should have been the genie, right? Wrong genie. And just like that, the House of Mouse is restored to its original glory, and we've hit the end of the movie. All in all, these direct-to-DVD entries are just fine, and check the exact same boxes that you'd expect out of a couple of extended holiday entries into the House of Mouse. Much like the series, your enjoyment will be closely tied to how much you enjoy the shorts themselves, especially since they covered 2/3 of the runtime. Not a fan of Mickey's Christmas Carol or MouseWorks in general when it aired? Then it's pretty hard to recommend this series for only the House of Mouse segments, as fun and punchy as they can be. There's just not enough to chew on. But if you're a fan of the classic shorts and haven't seen MouseWorks, this is kind of a dream come true for any Disney kid, especially with that swinging intro from Brian Setzer.
So come on in, we're gonna shake the house. We're having a ball at the House of Mouse.
Unfortunately, even with all these fun ideas stuffed inside an inspired concept, House of Mouse still didn't end up going for much longer than MouseWorks. While it did go 3 seasons with 2 direct-to-DVD movies, the second half of the series had a rough road when Disney's One Saturday Morning ended due to poor ratings, and all remaining episodes got shifted to Toon Disney, the company's secondary cable channel. And while we were never given an exact reason for House of Mouse's cancellation, it's safe to say that the series just didn't have the cultural hook that the company was hoping for. As the final few episodes were airing, Disney execs had already moved on to an alternate plan of attack for Operation Make Mickey Relevant, a plan that involved stamps, statues, product placement, and another direct-to-DVD movie and even video games. Even with all this, though, it still took another 10 years for Disney to truly find critical and commercial success in a full-on animated series for Mickey Mouse, with 2013's Mickey Mouse, which was retitled The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse in 2019 and ran through 2023. And so with Mickey Mouse finally having achieved the level of cultural relevancy that Disney had spent so long trying to achieve, and the company still being smack dab in the middle of their 100-year celebration, you'd think that they would take the opportunity to look back and have House of Mouse on Disney Plus, right? Which all just highlights the big irony here. The House of Mouse, which was basically Disney's love letter to all the fans of its legendary animation over the years, isn't getting any love. The series isn't available on Disney Plus or DVD. You can snag a used physical copy of the movies or purchase them digitally, but I wouldn't recommend dropping that kind of cash unless you're already a huge fan. The only little glimmer of hope here is Disney's recent announcement that their next animated short, Once Upon a Studio, will be debuting on October 15th on ABC. And I don't know about you, but it's definitely given me House of Mouse vibes. Maybe we'll get a little cross-promotional synergy, or maybe not, and it'll just stay locked away in the actual Disney vault forever, forcing us to go back to YouTube where some generous individuals have uploaded all the episodes. And if you're looking for even more amazing Disney crossovers, don't miss my video about the Devil and Max Devlin featuring Bill Cosby of all people. It's a classic tale with Cosby as the devil who's looking to corrupt the souls of young children. Wait, did I say amazing Disney crossover? I meant terrifying.